I actually have a documentary making background, and I was mostly into big documentaries until the end of the 90s. And then, you know, I think the public stations started following the commercial stations and were much more focused on, you know, on their own countries. And so also it became a lot more difficult as a Flemish, I'm Flemish, to actually get budgets for documentaries. And so we kind of went into docusoap. And then one day, you know, the broadcasters saw this show, which was the Swedish Expedition Robinson, which was Survivor. And they actually thought like, okay, this is basically reality with games. So why don't we ask the experts of docusoap to do it? And so this is how we got into reality TV. They asked us, well, okay, would you like to do Survivor? And it was great. We did 4 seasons of it. It was amazing. And at some point, the station asked us, oh, you know, we need another adventure show. And this is when we actually had to think about something new.
A Red Army helicopter is flying 8 couples to the start of the ultimate race.
Quick, hold on.
An adventure into an unknown world.
Go.
8,000 kilometers with just €2 per day.
No money.
A race in the footsteps of the Trans-Siberian Express from Moscow's Red Square all the way to Tiananmen Square in Peking.
In order to create Pekin Express, I really went back to my idea of what was adventure. So I was thinking, really, what is adventure for me? And I kind of concluded that adventure was not knowing where you will sleep that night. You know, this is the essence of adventure. So, and that's also the controlling idea of Pekin Express. And all the rest is kind of a derivative of that. So this is why it became a race in an unknown world with only €1 a day. Because you have only €1, you cannot have a hotel. Because it's a race that stops at 5 in the evening, you will not know where you will be.
Wanneer het 6 uur is, moeten ze stoppen met liften en op zoek gaan naar een gratis slaapplaats. De duikers Arthur en Robert komen als enigen in een stadje terecht. Maar ze merken al snel dat er iets niet juist zit.
Once we had the basic idea, you know, it was really a very historic meeting. We just went to the big room and we took a globe and we said, oh, okay, where do we want to go? So, and then we saw Siberia. That was really like a big black hole. We said, okay, let's go there. So then we took a very big map, really, just a big map of Siberia. And we said, okay, how many episodes? 12. All right, okay. So this is 6, this is 4, this is 5. So we started mapping it out, really. So it was like you know, we had already the habit of doing crazy stuff. So we were not afraid to really take it to the end and you know, do it this way.
Het is een vreemde gewaarwording om erachter te komen dat 70% van de inwoners van een stadje vrouw is. Dat 15% van de mannelijke inwoners alcoholist is. En dat dus eigenlijk alle vrouwen wanhopig zijn. Nou, als je eerlijk bent is dat voor elke man natuurlijk een droom.
Why we went to Siberia and to China was basically, I think we did that because we didn't want anybody to be able to rip it off. So basically our idea was, okay, where can we make a show that nobody in his right mind is going to say, okay, I'll just copy the show. So we really went there and we said, okay, we took the globe and we said, okay, nobody's going to follow us, especially the Dutch are not going to follow us there. Because at that time there was a lot of stealing and ripping off. So we thought, okay, we knew how hard it was to create an original format. So we said, like, okay, how can we protect this? It's very difficult to protect it. So the only way we could really protect it is by making sure that whoever was going to do it was going to say, oh, let's just work with these guys because I don't want to go to Russia and China, you know, and produce this because it was really crazy.
Oh my god, het is hier vol katten. Ik ben allergisch aan katten. Daar zaten katten, daar zaten vogels, daar zaten ratten, daar zaten alles. En wij zijn allergisch aan katten. Dus ja, op het eerste zicht was het van, oh, wat gaan we nu doen? Geen toilet, Jury, geen douche, geen lopend water, niets. Er was geen lopend water, dat kwam gewoon uit een nimmer. Het was zo vies. Het toilet was gewoon een gat in de grond. stonk enorm.
It took, I think, let's say about 9 months before we really had everything clear and everything was kind of settled with the broadcaster. Okay, this is what we want to do. Oh yeah, the first season was legendary because a lot of stuff that you do, actually, you just find out when it's happening. Huh? But the first big thing was when we started was, is this hitchhiking going to work? That was the very big thing. And I remember waking up, at some point and people calling me, yes, they got hitchhiked, yes, they got hitchhiked, yes, they got hitchhiked. Well, and I was there with like 80 people in the middle of Russia and I was praying that it worked. So, talking about taking chances. So there was a lot of belief that we could pull it off, but we took a lot of risks. And at the same time, there was, very simple things that you didn't think of, like the contestants were actually going too quick. So at some point, they had to arrive at a certain game the next day, but they already were there in the afternoon of the first day. So this is when we invented like the perimeter. We said, okay, this doesn't work. But okay, we're going to make perimeters. When the first couple hits the perimeter, we stop the race, for everybody. So all those things were invented during the first shoot.
Jiske en Elias blijven de ene meevaller na de andere hebben. Voor de nacht krijgen ze een hotel aangeboden.
So you will have a room, dinner, breakfast.
Oh my god.
We zijn in de Jordaan.
Ja, zoiets, ja, inderdaad. Die gordijntjes, nou, ik vind het echt heel leuk. Helemaal een huisje voor jezelf. Niet normaal.
Then we did the first editing. The editing is really the process where you feel the first show. So it's extremely important. And then, of course, in the second season, you actually know what you're using, what you're not using. So you can film a lot more efficient. So it's only really after the editing of the first season that you can really know, you can say that the format is finished. Formatting is basically making the story arc somehow predictable. Making sure that you as a storyteller know what story arcs there are, and also for the viewer, kind of anticipating the story arcs. So formatting is basically creating a framework of narrative. Like in any format, the most important thing is the controlling ID. So the controlling ID is basically, you could say, in this case it is, you will not know where you will sleep. It has a derivative, which is, it's a race in an unknown world, and you only have €1 a day. So this is the controlling ID. And then you have to translate that controlling ID into the title, into the vocabulary that you use, into the casting, into the music, in everything. So I think a really great format is where the controlling ID of the show is really everywhere, is like everywhere in the show. We have different kinds of creators. I think there's creators that are very good at finding a controlling ID, a new one, but they have no clue how to really put it into practice. And you have a lot of creatives who actually don't have that very original ID, but they are very good at translating that ID into format, into television, into narratives. So I think this is one of the dangerous things, is that we always expect the creative to have both. And it's very seldom they have both. Yeah, you have to show it to the market. I think the best shows that were created for me, they were not created just like this, a guy on his, it was as I said, in a dialectic process. They went out with their first ID, people said, I don't know this, and then they just went back and they changed it and they changed it and they changed it. And the original ID was totally different than the final ID, because they confronted it with the market, with the people who had to buy it. Our success in France was extremely important for the life of the show, because now even today people professional people. They know it has been in France for 10 years, so it's really on their map. Oh yeah, this is one of, it's not that they're going to do it, but it's on their list. Like, oh, these are the big formats. And that's because of France and now also Italy. They do a 7th season. It's been 6 seasons in Spain. So it is out there really as part of the shelf of the programmers saying, okay, what can we do?
Ja, het is echt wel uitgedraaid uiteindelijk op een groot feest. Ze hebben de vodka erbij gehaald en ik weet niet meer hoeveel flessen dat we leeg gedronken hebben, maar het was echt wel plezant.
Мир и дружба. Война не надо. Война не надо.
Война, no!
Да. No, война.
I think the price in return of the audience, it's still a difficult one. In general, it's a bit expensive for the audience it gets. And I think it really worked very well for stations that wanted a station profiling show. So you have some shows that can profile your station. When you ask people what is M6, they would say, the singing show and Pekin. So it's it becomes part of the DNA of the broadcaster. So in that sense, it was a successful show international because it really could bring DNA to the station. But purely on the accounting, like how many viewers do I get for how much money, it was a difficult show to sell, and it still is.
Good morning, Russia!
You create a world, You create things that are relevant to people. And not only for the viewer, I think also, for example, there's people who already 15 years make this show. They've built their life, they've traveled the world making this show. So basically, that your stubbornness, your risk-taking, your believing in whatever you think is right, that can actually create a world, that is something, that is special, that feeling. I think that feeling is very special. So I think, I wouldn't say that I'm so proud, I'm mostly thankful, I've been very lucky, and it allows you to feel a little bit special, This is why I like to come to France, because in France, le créateur, it still means something. If I go to Belgium and I say le créateur, they disent, alors, voilà. That's the Nordic approach of creativity.